Hey everyone, welcome to another lesson. In this one, we'll be talking about colorization. Okay, so let's get right to it. I want to change the color of this man's shirt. Okay, so what's the first thing that we have to do? Well, we have to make a selection, right? So let's change the color of his shirt, and we have to make it seamless. Let's try to do some really detailed work. We're in week 7, so by now you should be familiar with the selection tools that are available to us, and you should be able to make some very, very neat selections. So please pay attention to your selections and put some time into them and make them accurate. Okay, so for the sake of this video, though, I'll be kind of like working on it quickly just to demonstrate it, but it'll be up to you to make the selections seamless. All right, so what's the first tool that we can consider using for his shirt? Well, I think the quick selection tool would be good, right? So I'm gonna make a selection. Okay, so I mean, right off the bat, it's a pretty good selection, but of course you're not gonna get every single part of his shirt. In fact, it's pretty rough. It's nowhere near as good. Okay, but that's something that we can fix up later. So let's try to get the larger parts of his shirt, the bigger areas. Okay, so for now, I'm just gonna do this, all right? And then, okay, I'm gonna unlock this layer, and then I'm gonna make a duplicate. I like to make duplicates just so that, you know, if I don't like the result, I don't have to like go back in the history. I can just delete the top layer. Like I can just delete this layer and then just go back to this original image. So that's what I like to do. So I like to keep 2 layers. All right, so from here, with this selection, I'm gonna go ahead and click on adjustments and then add hue saturation. Okay, so now the selection that I made is now a mask. Okay, so I can go ahead and change the hue of my selection. Okay, except now the color, the white, is like blending with the hue, and it's not really doing much, right? So we're gonna click on colorize. Okay, and now we're gonna increase saturation and mess with the lightness. Okay, and try to get a realistic, good color. Okay, I'm gonna make his color. I'm gonna make his shirt like green, like that. Okay, and I'm gonna maybe lower the saturation just a little bit. Increase the lightness just a little bit. Okay, is that good? All right, it's pretty decent. Okay, so yeah, just do some tweaking, get it to where you want. I'm gonna decrease the lightness just a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. All right. Maybe I'll turn it into like some like an aqua color. Okay, that's good. All right, so now we have to do some touching up because it's pretty rough around the edges, right? So what do? We can either get into our selection and mask window by double clicking, or you can also press Alt and then click and then mess with the settings like this, but then you'll only see the mask itself, right, and not the image. So you can let's get into select and mask, actually. Okay, and then from here Oh, actually, I'm gonna go back to the original image and then click on select and mask. That way, I get to preview it as well, right? Okay, let's do overlay. Actually, we don't even have to do overlay. Just do like, just do onion skin. That's good with like transparency at the highest, and then that's good enough because I mean it's good to like see what we're working on. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the brush tool, set the size and the hardness. Okay, I'm gonna set it to a little bit, maybe like 90%. I'm gonna set the size to something like 9. Okay, and then I'm gonna just go ahead and paint it. If you have a pen tablet, or if you're working this on a laptop with, or a device with pen input, this is a lot easier. I'm using my mouse, so I need to be like really careful. So take your time with it. Take your time with this, and try to make a very seamless edit. Like try to make it so that we don't even know it's there. Okay, so I'm gonna delete the zipper because it kind of like went into the zipper as well, right? So I'm gonna delete all of this area. Okay, like so. Okay, so do that for the whole shirt. Oh, I missed this area, so I'm gonna fill this in now. I'm gonna do that. Alright. It looks okay, but it's not perfect. You can definitely see flaws. So it'll be up to you to remove all of these flaws, make it perfect. Alright? For the sake of the video, though, I'm gonna move on. Okay? So when you press OK, it'll be applied. Alright, so let's move on to the next image. Alright, so in this image, we'll be changing the color of her shirt. But it'll be a little bit more tricky because if you look carefully, we have some reflection of the yellow here and probably here as well because, well, as you may know, everything reflects light. And in this case, her shirt is reflecting the yellow wavelength from the light and onto her skin, right? So that's one of the ways to tell if something is a good Photoshop job or if it's not, because if it's a good Photoshop edit, you'll not even notice that some colors are off. You have to take into consideration everything. You have to take into consideration how light reacts with the environment. So, I mean, that's something that painters will think about all the time. What makes a good painting? It's the transparencies, and it's the reflection and the diffraction and refraction of light, the diffusion of light. So we're gonna take the same principles and apply it to our Photoshop edit. Okay, so again, just because it's my preference, I like to make a duplicate of whatever we have. I'm gonna turn it off. You don't have to do this, it's just me. All right, quick selection tool. I'm gonna make the size a little bit smaller. Okay. Go ahead and select the large areas. Okay. I mean, that's pretty good, but you're not gonna get all these little crevices in her shirt, all the designs, right? So let's keep it simple for now. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and click on Adjustments, Hue, Saturation, so that it creates a mask. All right, and then Colorize. And then I want to make this, I think I want to make it like bright red. All right, so now her shirt is bright red. I'm gonna do a little bit of tweaking so that it can match the overall tone of the image. Make it a little bit cooler. Okay, and then maybe lower the saturation a little bit, because if I boost the saturation, it's just too red. So maybe put it down here somewhere. Okay, and then play with the lightness. Okay, that's good. All right, so let's do some detail work. So I will go to select and mask. Okay, all right, so from here, we're gonna use the same process to clean up our mask. Keep the hardness at a relatively hard number. Okay, so like the higher you go, the harder it gets, right? If it's too soft, like you're not gonna really get a good contrast between like the shirt or the dress and the background, because this is a hard line right here, so we'll need to use a pretty hard brush. Okay, then we're gonna just do the same thing. I'm gonna try to cover all this yellow. Okay, oh, so see how I kind of like went out of bounds here? You can just press Alt and then, you know, go back and then erase just a little bit. Okay, so it's a lot of elbow grease. You need to put in your time with it. Okay, so do that, and then I'm gonna get a smaller brush. Maybe make the hardness even higher for this, for all of these yellows. Okay, so make my brush smaller, and then okay, like so. Okay, get all of that, all of this. Make sure you zoom out as you work. Okay, get all this. Okay, so do that. Make it seamless. Make it perfect. All right. So around here, we've been seeing a lot of yellow reflection, right? Like at first it wasn't obvious, but now it's a little obvious. You see a bit of yellow. You see a lot of yellow, like where her arm is. All right, so for this area, we're actually gonna get out of the select and mask window. Just press OK to apply any changes that you've made, and we're actually gonna stay on this photo in this window, and we're gonna select the mask itself right here, and then we're gonna use the black color right here and the brush, because as you may know, in our mask, black is wherever is masked out, right? So I will choose a brush, hard round, or I'm gonna choose soft round. Okay, and then set the size. Okay. All right, so if I just draw over it, this is what happens, right? I'm gonna switch the color, and okay, yeah, that's what happens. Okay, you're just drawing over. Okay, so in order to avoid having it this strong, what are we gonna do? Let's play with opacity and flow. Okay, so I'm gonna set the flow to maybe like 10%. Maybe even lower the opacity just a little bit. And then now, it's not that strong. You can actually draw over her skin, and it doesn't make much of a difference. It takes a lot, right? So we're gonna just airbrush it over her skin lightly. Okay, get rid of all those yellows. All right, You zoom out, and there we go. You don't see any yellow anymore. You see a red reflection instead. Okay, let's do the same to like this area. It's a little rough, like the side of her arm, right? So first I'm gonna touch up this jagged edge. It's jagged, right? So raise my opacity, raise my flow. I'm gonna choose a I'm gonna make it hard. Okay, so it's a hard brush. Then I'm gonna, whoops, choose black to do this. Oh, okay. All right, so just touch it up like this. Maybe it's a little too hard. I'm gonna lower the hardness just a little bit, maybe like 80. Okay. All right, that's pretty good. Okay, and then I'm gonna lower the flow. I'll keep opacity at 100%, and then I'm gonna, invert this so that I'm actually now drawing the mask. Okay, so, oh, that's a little too much. Okay, so I'm gonna set the flow even lower, set the opacity lower too. Okay, so you're obviously not gonna get this right like your first try, so you gotta play with the settings a little bit, okay? All right, it's a little still too extreme. If I zoom out, you can see a band of red going on here, so it's a little too strong. I'll set the opacity even lower. Okay, and then now, if I try to like draw, it's very faint, right? Okay, that's a little better. I mean, I can still see it, but play with the settings. You know, you gotta undo quite a bit. Press Ctrl Z to go back a step and then retry. Okay, so now flow is at 2%. This is a little better, right? The yellow's mostly gone, and the red, there's a slight red reflection over here. Okay. So take your time with it. Take your time with it. You're not gonna get this in your first try, so you have to keep trying. You have to keep editing, zooming in and out, and getting into mask, getting out of mask to work on this. Okay. And if you don't wanna, if you're done with this view, you can always go back to the mask view. Just press Alt and then click, and then you can see the mask itself, right? Or you can go to Select and Mask to get into the mask tool toolbar, the mask window. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you can do. All right, and also there's a little bit of yellow up here too, right? So, you know, you can do a little painting up here. Okay, and now that yellow's gone. All right. Okay, so all of these things, they contribute to a realistic, a good, well done photo edit. All right, so take your time with this. Okay, and then the last photo that we're gonna work with is this photo. We'll be changing the color of her hair. Okay, so you can use your quick selection tool and then, you know, do your thing, or you can select a color range. Okay, so I'm gonna unlock this layer first. Okay, and I'm gonna make a duplicate just in case. Oops. Drag, and then drag it to this plus sign right there to make a copy. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. All right, so to select a color range, we're gonna go to Select, and then Color Range right here. Okay, click on that. And then now, you can, with this eyedropper tool, you can select the range. You can select a color that you want to select all over the image. Okay. All right. So, you know, there's a lot of shades of blue in her hair, so you can't just click on one thing. So here's the preview. You can't just click on one thing and expect, like one area, and then expect to select her whole hair, right? So you actually have to to add onto the selection. Okay, so you gotta click on this, or I like to just press Shift to add to the selection. Okay, so I'm gonna click on the blue right here, and then the blue here, the blue right there, and then a little bit of blue here. Okay, and there's also some blue here, right? Oh, that's maybe too much. So if you look at this preview, let's see if I can zoom in. No. Yeah, so if I click on like areas like this, it's gonna select too much, right? So just Control Z, undo it, and just keep making selections until you get what you want. Okay, this is pretty good. I mean, I'm getting some over here, but let's see if I can try that again. Okay, that's too much. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Right here. Okay, and then I will press OK. Okay, so it selected most of her hair. Let's make a hue saturation layer right there so that we got our mask. Okay, and now with this mask, let's click on it. Click on the mask itself. And then, oh wait, before we do this, I will show you what happens if you just continue working on it. So colorize. You're gonna get something like this. Okay, you see a lot of blue. These random like areas of blue, right? And we have to make it seamless. We have to make it seamless. Okay, I'm gonna increase the saturation. Okay, lower the lightness. All right, see how messy that is? We have to fix all of that up. So we're gonna click on the mask, go to select and mask, and then we can now edit our selection. Okay, see how it's all messy up here too? So we have to fix all that. I'm gonna use the brush tool to go a little bit out of bounds at first. Oh wait, you know what? I'm gonna increase the size and then lower the hardness. Okay. I'm gonna do this. Oh, I went over into her eyes, so I'm gonna do it again. Okay, I'm gonna go a little out of bounds, like all of this area. Okay, so I'm gonna switch to black and white. See, all of this area, you can just fill it in anyway, because you know her hair is not gonna have any like random blue areas anyway, right? So we know for sure her hair is gonna be a different color, so you can just go ahead and fill all of this in. And then if it needs editing later, we can fix it up later too. Okay, so I'm gonna increase the hardness. Okay, and then same with here. Yeah, go ahead and finish touching up. Select all these areas. Okay, get as much as you can. And you gotta go back and forth. Let's see, onion skin. Okay, try to get as much as possible. We're going a little out of bounds like this because we're gonna use the Refine Edge brush tool up here. Okay, and select all this hair as well because you want the front of her head to also have the same color, right? So, okay, I select all of this. If you want, you can go a little bit more precision using a smaller brush to select smaller areas. Okay. All right, so I'm not gonna do the whole thing. Let's go ahead and fast forward this a little bit so that I can show you. Okay, I'm just gonna use the Refine Edge brush tool, then go over it. So this image isn't very, it's not that high resolution. So just try your best. Okay, so like see how like this happens right here? It's not good. It's not good. So there's a lot of artifacting going on. So let's use a smaller brush and Okay, do that. Okay, and then we're gonna have to manually delete this. Oops. Manually delete all of this because, you know, it's not a perfect process. You're gonna have to do a lot of manual adjusting. Okay, so yeah, manually get rid of all that. Get it as clean as possible. Okay, go back to the refine edge. Oh, I see a little area I left open. Okay, so right here. All right, and then we're gonna go back to refine edge. Refine this area right here. Okay, make it clean, make it clean. Oh, that's not good. So you're gonna have to do some like real precision work here. Okay, do all of that, all of this. Oh, too much. Okay, so make sure you make it super clean, make it seamless. Okay, that's the white of her shirt, so you can go back and oops, remove it from our selection. Okay, and then you're gonna have to do that again. Yep, and any areas that you've missed, you will be touching up in this process, in this step, okay? Like so. Okay, that's her shirt, but there's a lot of red in it, so you're gonna have to erase that and take some time with it, okay? All right, so let's assume this mask is okay. We have to move on. Okay, and then, you know, this is really rough, so don't do something like this. You're gonna have to put a lot of time into this, so do that. In the meantime, okay, I'm gonna show you how to make her hair look more realistic. It's way too red. It's way too saturated. So I'm just gonna like lower the saturation just a little bit. And you have to play with lightness too. You have to play with all of these settings to really get the hair color that you want. So her original hair color is blue, right? So maybe I wanna make it like green. Okay, I wanna make it green. Again, way too vibrant, right? So if I go this way, it's gonna become even worse. I'm gonna kind of like lower it, okay, like this. And also play with the lightness. Okay. Now she's a wood elf, right? If you do this, it's a little bit more realistic. Maybe a little too dark. It's a little too dark. Okay, something like this, and then lower the saturation just a little. Okay, and also move the hue slider just a little bit to find the right green. Okay, all right, so take some time with this, and we have 2 more images remaining, but I'll leave these up to you. So these are the steps for the first 3 images, and now that's all you. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. I'll see you in the next one.